Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. All right, Princess of Swords. Right now I feel like you're very curious. I feel like right now you may be feeling as if you're a beginner somewhere. That you're just starting out in something, and we don't have all the answers yet. This card is about giving ourselves permission to not know, to make mistakes, allowing ourselves to try and to say, I need to make some improvements, So it's this kind of intellectual curiosity, but it's also a self-acceptance kind of energy, right? That we realize that we don't know everything. We're trying to see ourselves as a very capable student, but a student nonetheless. Someone that is able to learn and grow and adapt. This card's all about learning, being curious and brave enough and humble enough to learn, to figure out what I don't know, and to set about gaining the skills or the information or the knowledge or the understanding necessary at this stage of your journey. Okay, let's put this card into a little bit of context and see what else might be popping up for us. Interesting now, we've got that High Priestess. We've got a Two of Wands. We've got the Seven of Wands. We've got the Lover's card. Which the Lover's card, Gemini, that is your superpower card, by the way. That is the card that rules the sign of Gemini. Very nice. You're ready to step into your true self. Okay. You've got the Prince of Pentacles, the builder. Over here we have the Strength card, also called Lust. We've got a Knight of Cups. We've got a Knight of Swords. And we've got a Knight of Pentacles. Okay, we're looking at the future in our heart, our mind, and in our physical reality. Okay, so I think you're very much focused on the future and what is going to become of this, who you're going to be, what you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, where you are, how you're feeling, the unfolding of this plan, of this journey. That's what you're focused on, the kind of long-term goals. I think you're realizing that I got to start doing the work now. I'm not already that person. I've got to build that person up. So we have to start with the Princess of Swords. We have to learn what we don't know so that we can set about learning it. Yeah. And so I feel like it does, in some ways, it has to start with this, okay? And that's how we see ourselves right now, as this kind of student. I'm curious. I've got to take in the information. I've got to ask questions. I've got to figure this out. I got to be, there are no dumb questions, right? And that's kind of the rule here with the Princess of Swords. If you just ask the questions, be curious, gain the information, observe, listen, and I think have that approach to your development right now, and I think it's gonna do a lot for the process of building up this future that we're trying to build. Okay, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it right here with our very own Kelly Kapoor right on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this program you feel like you might know what that card is, put your prediction in the comments down below. Okay? Let's use our intuition. We've got the High Priestess here anyway, right? We've got 1, 2, 3 major arcana energies, having the courage and the wisdom to step into our true nature and to step into the life that is meant for us and to do the thing. We've got fire, we've got a little bit of water, okay, we have our air, and we've got our earth energies. So I feel like with all of the nights that we have, this is the future emotional state, right? Who you are, where you are, and how it feels in the long term. This is who you are, where you are, and what the sort of the intellectual unfoldment of that plan is, right? We're kind of looking at the future in intellectual kind of terms. And this is who you are, what you are, where you are, and what you're doing in the future position, right? How you feel, what you think, what you're doing, long term. And we're trying to step into ourselves. We're trying to become who we need to become in order to realize that full experience. Okay? The body, the heart, and the mind, all kind of looking at the same picture. The pentacles are looking at it from that practical point of view. The cups are looking at it from the emotional vantage point, and of course the intellectual vantage point, looking at the same thing but describing it in different terms. And I think the difficulty here is us realizing what it is we need to learn in order to keep going, because we may have a resistance with our Princess of Swords. It may be that we are, in some ways, the intellect feels like it's under threat because the ego likes to think it already knows everything, So this is really important that we take on this attitude of student. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to ask silly questions, It's okay to ask the so-called dumb questions. We need to have this humility. It's okay to go back to white belt. It's okay to realize that we're green here, that we're not the expert yet. Okay? Maybe you've already had a breakthrough, and now the ego kind of feels like I should be the expert here already, right? Well, no, because when you have a breakthrough, the old ceiling becomes the new floor. We're starting on a new baseline, yeah. And so we're going to have to learn something new, work our way forward, and I think you're becoming your best self by doing this. Now, the conflict here, the battle for you, the challenge is sort of trusting in this process, because sometimes we get so mired in the details and in the study of something, the learning, the asking questions, that we kind of feel as if we're getting cut off from our future goal, And you have looking at the future, looking at the future, looking at the future. But over here, this is like, I got to stay in the present moment. The princess and the prince, these are energies that are focused on right here and now. What's right in front of me? What do I got to do? What skill do I have to learn? And what do I have to build? What do I have to put together? And we're not upset. We're not looking at the future, right? And so the difficulty is, the challenge is in trusting and believing that the work I'm doing right now in the present is creating the future that I want. Okay? And because we're not always, if we're always thinking of the future, then we're not fixed in the present moment doing the work we need to do. We're worried, right? We're obsessed with that future. We're craving that future. So if we can let go of that and just focus on doing the right things right here, right now, trusting that the future is going to take care of itself, I think we're really going to make a lot of progress. Your energy is being tested right now. Your trust is being invoked, right? The universe. This is the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess is always trying to lead you to your best life. It's card number 2. Trying to get you to card number 3, which is the Empress, right? Big Rock, Candy Mountain, the future of my life, my future reality, who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing, thinking, and feeling. We have to trust in this. We have to trust in the High Priestess, because High Priestess, we take her hand and she's going to lead us through the briar patch. Lead us through difficulties, challenges, things that I don't know why I have to learn this. I don't know why I have to do this, but we're trusting in the process, okay? So this is something that's not easy for us, especially when you have a very strong and fortified intellect. You're a very smart person. You have a very strong and fortified mind and spirit, And so it's not easy for us to sort of acquiesce, It's sort of asking for our surrender. The High Priest is saying, take my hand. She says, take my hand and let me lead you to your best life. You got to trust me. Okay? It's not easy for you to trust. And, well, that's sort of reflected in the Princess of Swords, too, because this can be a very defensive energy. This can be somebody who is resistant to being taught anything. I don't want to learn anything. There's nothing you can teach me. You know, I already know what I'm doing, right? The High Priest is saying, let's let go of that and let's trust in this. Okay? So I feel that this is our big challenge right now, is to surrender to that intuition and to trust in that divine light that's leading us forward to our best life, to the future that we want, right? By doing the things right now in the moment that we know we need to do. Okay? That if we focus on the present moment, here and now, the future will take care of itself. And what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're feeling is all going to manifest. Okay? The inner landscape here. Okay, card number 3, this is inside of you, 2 of Wands. What lives beneath your conscious awareness, right, is this need for control. The need for feeling that I'm doing the thing, I'm making the decisions, I'm leading the way, right? Sometimes this card is us feeling like this should be my domain, I should make all the decisions. And so this is a card that doesn't like to submit, doesn't like to relinquish control to the High Priestess. Difficult time trusting in the leadership of this inner sort of wisdom, right? It's, in a way, this is kind of an ego inside of us, that this is maybe a complex, it may be an aspect of our unconscious that doesn't want to let go of control. Okay. So we might find that we're resisting, where we have maybe a defiance toward the teacher, right, or something like this, or we might have a resistance to being the student and sitting. We might have a hard time sitting in class listening to the teacher, right? We may find that we're easily distracted when we're trying to sit down and study the material or learn the skill or practice the thing. It's like, I just want to go out and do it and show off the skill, but I shouldn't have to sit here and do it over and over and over again and repeat it and learn the skill, you know. And there's that part of us, and all of us, we have that, a little bit of that anyway, right? The feeling that I shouldn't have to train. You know, this is someone who's an expert at jiu-jitsu, and then they're going to go take a karate class, and you're not the boss here. You know, you may be the head honcho over at jiu-jitsu, but now you're in karate. You got to learn the karate skills. But this is that kind of defiance that says, no, I don't need to. I'm a whatever black belt jiu-jitsu. You know, I shouldn't have to start at white belt in karate, right? So we're trying to get a handle on that. We're trying to trust the process and say, okay, I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do, how I'm thinking, and how I'm feeling in the future, and I trust that this is the process to get there. Okay. So this is a little bit of that kind of inner defiance that we might have, okay? And I think that there is, again, in all of us, there's this need to be in control of things. It's never easy for the conscious mind or the ego to relinquish control. And I think we're trying to, because this is under the surface, we don't know why we're having such difficulty, you know? We don't know why things keep kind of getting in the way of that, or like maybe it leads to a little bit of self-sabotage or that sort of thing, okay? Now, in the background, card number 4, we have the 7 of Wands. Sometimes the 7 of Wands is us banging our head against the same thing over and over and over and over again. Okay, this is some influence from the past. This may be some inertia. This may be a weakness. Okay, what is it from the past that's still kind of putting drag or distorting your current path? Is there any kind of childhood patterns or internalized voices or something, right? Sometimes this is a card, like I said, of not giving up on anything, that we're sort of, we refuse to quit. This is, I'm going to keep banging my head against the wall till the wall crumbles. Well, the wall will win every time, right? So this may be an indication that we're we're kind of stuck doing the same techniques we've always done, and we realize that now to step into our evolution, to continue the journey of our life, it's time for me to take the karate. It's time for me to go back to white belt and learn the new skill. In other words, this was working for a while, but now we realize that the only way to keep growing in life is to learn the new technique. I already know these skills, and I know these are not all there is, so I've got to learn the new one. Does that make sense? So, again, it's kind of this idea that, this very strong fiery, and both of these are Mars cards, right? And the Mars influence of these two cards kind of feels like I should just be able to break down this wall with my bare fists, and I'm mad, I'm angry that I can't do that. And somebody says, oh, no, you got to learn how to use I don't know what, some kind of tool, right? You got to learn how to use the right kind of drill or saw or screwdriver. And you say, no, I should just be able to bash right through it. I shouldn't have to learn how to use a jackhammer, right? Or whatever. And so there's a resistance to feeling, we feel challenged. And we might find that we're kind of like, we're reactive in that way. When it's suggested by our own soul that, or maybe from outside of ourselves somewhere, that, you got to take this class, you got to learn how to do this thing. And we think, I shouldn't have to learn how to use Excel to run a business or whatever, right? This is the same as a student who's like, I don't know why I have to learn math, There's a resistance to that because it's challenging it feels like it's challenging our strength, and it's making us feel like, well, if there's something that I have to learn, it means I don't already know it. It means that I'm not capable of doing this thing already without this extra knowledge. Yeah? And so we have that sort of defiance against anything that we feel like we have to start from the basics. Taking a cooking class, and first we're going to show you what a knife looks like, and this is the handle of the knife. And it's like, come on, I already know that stuff, So it's very hard for us to go to white belt and like, okay, this is how you breathe. It's like, I know how to breathe. Just get on with it. Can we hurry up? Can I fast forward the video, right? And I think that the High Priestess is trying to tell you, just trust this, because you're growing and evolving yourself. And that's your motivation here. That's card number 5. This is your giant. This is your motivation, your driving force. The force that's pulling you forward, right, is your desire to become the best version of yourself, to become united with everything of which you're capable of being, to truly expand and unfurl your energy, to unfold the essence of who you are, to become a fully realized potential. Okay, and so, yeah, there's always something new that we need to be learning and studying and trying to develop and trying to advance. Okay, and I think one of your sort of this is the why. This is the why you're doing it. This is what you're hoping to achieve. I think full integration with yourself, a sense of wholeness and completion. You're trying to come together with some particular aspect of the universe. This is a card of union. Okay. Sometimes these are saying this is like the union by force. I'm just going to make it happen. Well, the High Priestess is telling you no. You have to allow it to happen. You can't make it happen. Can't force it. We have to allow it. It's the more magnetic kind of absorption energy that's going to work for you right now. And this may be your sort of goal, is to unite with this particular aspect of yourself. In other words, you want to become someone who's really good at karate. That's kind of the goal. I want to unite with that version of me that knows karate. Can't just take a pill, right? This isn't the Matrix, right? So we have to go through the struggles. We have to go through the failures. We got to ask the dumb questions. We got to get out on the mat and make mistakes and look foolish and embarrass ourselves and get thrown down a bunch of times, right? Which that kind of affects me. Hey, I don't want to be thrown down on the mat. I'm an expert at jiu-jitsu or whatever. But we realize the goal. This is the why. It doesn't matter what this is about. This could be anything for you, okay? Any kind of a goal that you have. You want it because you want to be the person that can do that thing. You want to learn how to climb a mountain. You want to learn how to sew. You want to learn how to paint a picture. You want to learn how to run a business. You want to learn how to manage finances, or you want to have exercise goals, right? You want to accomplish things. You see a future of a future version of yourself. Again, what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling in the future. And that means that you're committed to one or other type of goal here. This is the union with that goal. Okay? And you're ready to grow into your true self. That version of you that can do that thing, right? Whatever it might be. So that's your motivation. That's your the big why. Okay? And kind of the what to, I guess. Okay? In the future position, we've got the builder. The way forward for you is to do the work, to show up every day, ready to be thrown down on the mat, ready to work hard, ready to put in that work, right? But this is also your kind of ideal self, your projected path, the image of your ideal self. This is who you want to become, right? The future that you're shaping through your current energy. Okay? I feel like this is a vision that's kind of aligned with your soul. I feel like this is your calling. Okay. And this is somebody who is doing the thing in real time. Someone focused on the moment, very capable, doing the skill. This is the painter who's painting, the builder who's building. This is the card of doing the thing. Not learning the thing, not questioning the thing, not wondering about the thing, not forcing the thing. I'm just the person that does the thing. You know, if you're in any kind of construction, I always think of this as like, well, this is someone on the construction site. It's like, hey, I'm just here to put in the windows. I'm just here to run the plumbing. I mean, I don't know. I'm just doing what I do. You know, you got a problem, don't ask me, talk to the boss. I'm just doing what I do. I'm just painting the picture. I'm just installing the electrical. I'm just putting in the toilet, man, you know? Doing the thing. And that's kind of like, that's our ideal self, is we're the painter who paints. We're the bowler who bowls. We're the stamp collector that collects stamps, you know, and that's what we're trying to do. Okay. And this is present moment. We're not worried about the past. We're not worried about the future. We're not anxious. We're expressing ourselves in the physical world, doing the work, molding our life with clay. We're getting dirty. We're showing up. We're consistent, right? It's not a surge of excitement and motivation, and it's not being stuck in the mud. It's just consistent day after day effort, living my life in the way, doing what I do. And I think that there is a sense of destiny and a sense of duty even in that, you know. Let's talk about the path of the serpent. Okay, as we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. These readings are free anyway. Your general energy is the lust or strength card. Sometimes this is our persona, our public self. This is kind of how, this is maybe the mask that we wear. This is our perhaps social identity. And this is a very confident and capable card. It's very active and fiery. Okay. And it may really be that we're sort of going into this situation with this confidence and this, almost this defiance that kind of like we need to maybe humble ourselves a little bit, and that's what the High Priestess and the Princess of Swords are trying to do. Because right now, it almost feels like we're already capable. I already know how to do it. We're walking into the karate studio like this and the dojo thinking I'm going to kick all these people's butts. I'm going to win. We think that's confidence, but that's not. Confidence is saying, I know that I can go into this. I know I'll probably get my butt kicked. I'm going to do it anyway, and I know that I'm going to be okay. I know that this is part of the process. I trust in the process. So we're controlling our ego here enough where we step into it and we seem strong and confident, but it's a calm assertiveness. It's a quiet confidence. Okay? It's not hubris. It's not arrogance saying, I'm going to kick all your butts. No. Going in and saying, I'm here to learn. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to make mistakes, and that's okay. That I'm going to come through this. I know that I'm going to do my very best. And I know that this is good for me. And I know that I'm going to be stronger for doing this. It's not going to break me, and I know that I'm not going to quit. I'm going to stick with it. And we're trying to control our speed here a little bit. We're trying to pull back on the reins just enough so that we're not rushing headfirst into a brick wall anymore. we're slowing down and we're saying, okay, I need to, I need to pay attention. I need to learn. I need to go back and I need to do the sort of introductory algebra stuff before I can do the calculus. I've got to learn to walk before I can run. And this is difficult, especially when we feel we're already very capable people. Sometimes this is a card that says, oh, I can just reach up into the sky and I can pull out a star and put it in my pocket. That's how strong and capable I am. Nothing can defeat me. I'm invincible. We're not invincible. We're very vincible. But we don't need to feel meek and so humble that we're ineffectual and we're quiet and we're not active, So we need this fire, we need this confidence, but it has to be a calm and quiet confidence, not a hubris, right? So it's a balance, it's discipline, it's self-control. And I think that is something that we're trying to wrestle with a little bit. I think that's part of our Princess of Swords here, right? We're trying to. I think others see you as being very strong and being very capable. At least we feel like that's the energy that we're projecting, right? But we have that issue then with kind of being the white belt, being the student. Everybody expects me to know what I'm doing. What if people saw me like getting my butt kicked at karate? All my jiu-jitsu friends will think I'm silly, right? I don't think that's the case, but I feel like that's sort of that's the dilemma. These two are really a big contrast of energy here. Okay. Now, the next card in the environment is the Knight of Cups, right? The Knight of Cups is the vision of how we want to feel in the future. What's the emotional outcome we're looking for here? Well, I want to feel connected. I want to feel happy. I want to feel that people like me. I want to feel that I have something to offer the world and I'm getting something back. This is sometimes this is an aspect of ourself that we're not really acknowledging. Sometimes this is something repressed. It's a shadow energy that we might really want the emotional connection, the softness, the love in life. But here we are with our lust card and our fire that we might be sort of masking a need for intimacy with a lot of this kind of fiery, rebellious energy. Okay. I feel like this card is all about how we give and receive love in our relationships, especially as this card is in the position of your relationships. I think you want more reciprocating relationships. You want more compassion and more love in your life. Okay. I think that we want to feel as if we are offering our very best self to the world, and that's why we're trying to develop this thing and have this union with whatever path this is. Maybe this is a relationship. Okay. Maybe this is you really like wanting to have an intimate, connected relationship with a friend, family member, a lover, a spouse, or something. But then feeling that there's this inner opposition to that. Like I want that, but why am I fighting against it so hard? Because I think we're resistant to change. And in any union, whether this is you and the karate, this is you and a lover, there's compromise. Okay, we can't go in just feeling like we own the place. Like there's going to be a give and take, and I think that it's there's a little bit of a rebellion against some of that. So I think we're looking at this long-term future and thinking, okay, what kind of emotional life do I really want? Okay, and if we can admit that, well, I want to have a life. I want to really the Knight of Cups is looking at the Ten of Cups, right? And the Ten of Cups is satisfaction, integration, wholeness, fulfillment. It is a card of delight. It's a card of having relationships, intimacy. It's about having purpose, and it's a well-rounded life. Okay? And if we want that, then that will help. If we can acknowledge that we want that kind of life and what those details are emotionally, that'll help us to get over this sort of defiance that we have, And it'll say, okay, I'm willing to humble myself because I'm willing to kind of go back to white belt because I believe in this outcome that I want. I believe in this long-term goal of mine. And that type of life means more to me than whatever the reasons are that I'm fighting this a little bit. Okay. Now, the fear, the worry, the concern is our Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is looking at what? 10 of Swords, right? Looking at the 10 of Swords and thinking, what if I do all of this work? What if I get to the very end of this journey and there's nothing there? What if I put in the years, right? And at the end, all I get is a dry hole, a 10 of Swords, right? It's desiccated. There's no water there. There's no nourishment there. What if I go through this whole thing and there's nothing at the end? And I think that's kind of our logical mind is sort of resisting that and saying, look, I'm going to go through all these math courses, and for what? What am I going to get out of it? What is that leading me to at the end? You know? And so in a way, we have to think of it like this. Well, even if I go through this whole process and nothing is at the end of it, I get no satisfaction. What if I don't get that 10 of Cups that I'm looking for? What if I get the 10 of Swords instead? Can there still be some sort of value in that? Is it still worth doing it? Well, maybe it's worth it just for what we've gained in terms of our own skills. Maybe it's worth it just for the experience. Okay. But there's kind of this fear of the future that's in an unconscious, complex kind of way, preventing us from doing what we need to do now in order to create that future. We're kind of sabotaging the present by saying, well, the future, what if it doesn't happen, then there's no point in doing it now. So I'm just not going to do it now. So that way I don't have to go through the whole process and get nothing at the end. Well, we're guaranteed to get nothing if we don't do the work right now, you know? So this is kind of a logical fear, but it's kind of an irrational fear, right? It's a deep dread, I guess, in this situation. We're not really looking for a 10 of Swords. Okay. But we don't want to face that. We don't want to admit that, well, yeah, what if I do fail? We don't want to admit that it's a possibility. So we're kind of unconsciously sabotaging our progress rather than saying, if I focus on the here and now, right? The prince said, if I learn what I need to learn, do what I need to do, and trust in the process, the future will take care of itself. But I'm worried about that future. I'm scared that it may never materialize. Well, that is me worrying about the future. It's going to prevent me from doing the work in the present, so it won't materialize. If we just forget about the future and do what we need to do right now, the future will take care of itself. Okay? And now the last card is the Knight of Pentacles. That's looking at the 10 of Pentacles, right? This is looking at the whole picture, the physical image of it. What does it look like? What are the details? It's your best life. You got your pets, your plants, your people. If you stay aligned on this path, that outcome is going to be there. Now, whether you're enjoying it or not, that's something your heart and your mind are going to have to figure out. But this is the result. Whatever you're building here, whatever you're working on, whatever the skill is, whatever you're building, that's going to come to fruition. If you stay focused on the thoughts, words, and deeds in the present moment, the future will be aligned with that. This is where your path is headed if you stay aligned with this process of growth. Okay. I think that this is a card of us looking at the future, seeing the details, and thinking, okay, it's going to happen. I just got to stick to the present moment. I got to stick to the plan. I got to keep doing what I'm doing. I got to show up every day. I got to build the thing. I've got to humble myself. I got to keep showing up. I got to trust in the process. Okay. I think that this is the long-term goals here will materialize. Let's look at the mystery card. Well, it could be a 10 of Cups, 10 of Swords, or a 10 of Pentacles, right? If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Oh, wow, 6 of Pentacles. That's good. 6 of Pentacles is very, very good. because this is, this is the success. This is kind of saying, like, if I focus on these, if I focus on the skills and the building, and I show up and I focus on the here and now, then I'm going to get a lot of these wins. This is a success after struggle. Okay, this is a big win, right? And it's kind of like every day, I'm going to go home every day and feel like today was a win. Because I did everything that my thoughts, words, and deeds were aligned with my purpose and my true self today. Tomorrow's another day, I got to do it again. And this is kind of like, this is that peak experience. We have a lot of days like this, and we're building up this best life of ours. Right? So we feel very successful here. We feel like not only did we show up and we did the very best job that we could, but we feel like we overcame something in ourselves too. Right? Especially when we had this 7, and now we've got the 6. This is kind of like something wasn't working, but now it is. Okay? This card could be a balanced exchange. Okay, or maybe we're focused on the natural flow of things that we're putting in work, and we're getting a lot out of it on a daily basis. So maybe this is a card not only of the long-term goals. This is who I want to be, where I want to be, and what I want to be doing, thinking, and feeling in the long-term future. Maybe this is a card of more short-term goals. Maybe it's saying let's just focus on today. Let's make today a win. Let's make today a good day. And the rest of the days, and then tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow, I'll make tomorrow a good day. And I'm not worried about the future. I'm worried about right now. If every day can be a good, productive day, the future's going to take care of itself. So let's not worry about it. Let's focus on just what's right in front of us, right? This is also a card of generosity, and I think generosity attracts prosperity. Okay. Practice acts of kindness. That's part of our Knight of Cups too. This is a card that really is into random acts of kindness, right? Practice acts of kindness, and that, I think, will create an energetic cycle that'll draw wealth back to you. Shift your mindset from scarcity to abundance, being open to receiving, right? Help, love, resources from others. Okay? Give freely and you can receive generously. So it's part of our sort of yielding of the High Priestess, whereas the fire energy and the lust card are thinking, no, I don't need anything from anybody. I don't need any help. I don't need to learn anything, or I'm capable all on my own, right? This is a card that's saying, well, let's be open to help. Let's be open to learning. Let's be open to support. Let's be open to receiving. Sometimes the 6 of Pentacles is a very harmonious, like, support system, a supportive network. Maybe we're cultivating relationships. Maybe this is the card that is us admitting this repressed kind of energy and saying, yeah, I do need help. I do need love. I do need support from other people. It is going to be a lot easier. It is going to be a better journey if I admit that I want to have other people in my life, I think this is a card of balance. I think that we have to understand how we're allocating the hours of our day with this card. This is also a card of the 6 pillars of success, right? Or well-being, or happiness, or health, or whatever you want to call it, right? The 6 pillars of harmony. Nutrition, right? Intentional movement, sleep, stress reduction, right? Substance management, and relationships. And right in the middle is a sense of purpose. Right? 7, I guess. The sense of purpose is what's keeping everything in order. So these are the things we need to focus on, and where we need to apply our energy and develop our skills so that we can grow into this harmonious whole sort of sphere that we're trying to become. Okay. I think this is a very good confirmation card. Now, we're going to do an extended reading. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Gemini Mondays and Fridays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. The readings are totally free. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.